song's dedicated after the beautiful video game Donkey Kong 64. Yeah. You know, I'm all about collecting bananas. Favorite fruit. But for real, it's not really about that at all. Banana! But here it is.
I bought PJ's Lager House in 2007. It's been a bar here in Detroit, in Corktown, since 1915 when it first opened. Prohibition came in very shortly after that, and the side where the band plays now was a restaurant and bakery. That side was a furniture store. But I just recently had confirmed, I met a guy whose grandfather got busted for serving in the Lager House in the 20s during Prohibitions, and he spent a month in Hoco. So I know it's been a bar since 1915. We try to produce the best original small scene music that we can. One of the unfortunate parts about our venue is if a band gets good enough, they're going to grow out of it, and they're going to go play a bigger place because they have to. And that makes it hard a little bit because you're always cultivating new talent coming up, and you're trying to get people who can actually get people to come out and see live music, because there's so much competition for your entertainment dollar from those little tablets and phones that we hold in our hands every day and every minute to, you know, the Detroit Tigers. There's so much going on all the time that you know, getting time to go out and hear some independent original music is sometimes pushing it a bit. I was born and raised in Detroit, went to high school at Detroit at U of D High, went off to Ann Arbor for 23 years. Graduated from there in 1976 and opened up a record store up there called PJ's Used Records, still there today, in 1981. And that was the first time I was really completely self-employed. And I didn't make the money that my friends were making at better jobs, but I had the freedom to do what I wanted to do often when they couldn't. And I really liked that aspect of it. Besides that, I really liked the music end of business. I worked at concerts as stagehands and things like that for a long time, but I've always just really enjoyed going out and seeing original live music by various people from whatever walk. Nirvana at the Blind Pig, or the Blasters at Joe Starr's Lounge. That just going way back, there was just so much I've seen. And now I've gotten to be a little bit older, and people go, wow, you saw those guys? And I go, yeah, I did see the original Grateful Dead. Anyways, I love music a whole lot, but after 15 years at the record store, I met my wife, and short story, she didn't want to live in Ann Arbor. I didn't want to live in Grosse Pointe, and she said, have you ever seen Indian Village? And we ended up buying an absolute wreck of a house in Indian Village, which we have put back together over the past 21 years. And so I got into real estate. I went to work for Real Estate One. I did that for 10 years. I sold a lot of houses in Detroit. I was the top producer for Real Estate One for 10 years in a row. And I took two young guys to show a house, a big house in Indian Village, Seminole. And we're walking up the stairs, and I said, you know, you guys look like you're in rock bands. And which bands are you in? And the one guy says, well, I'm Dan. I'm from a band called Blanche. And I said, oh, I've seen you guys a bunch of times. I should recognize you. You got Goober and the Peas. And he goes, yeah. And the other guy goes, I'm Jack White. I'm from the White Stripes. Didn't recognize him at all. And I said to myself when I did that, I just went, oh my God, I've been away from the music business for way the fuck too long. It was that desire to, at least to some degree, get back in the music business and get to see a lot more live original music are the things that really got me interested in doing this.
My name's Erica Pieszczak. I am a resident bartender at PJ's Lager House. The reason why I stay working here and have wanted to work here initially was because I really like the scene of people that come in here. When you work in a place that has shows, you have to really enjoy the crowd. Otherwise, your work becomes very stagnant and boring, and you begin to hate every aspect of it. And I don't hate working here. Not very often do we have bands that actually sound like shit. Sometimes the shows aren't as busy as I would like them to be, but the music always has quality to it, and that's something I think that's worth sticking around for. I've been involved in the Detroit music scene for the past, 7 years, I would say. For me, as I started to branch out after I was finishing college, I started to go to other places, and my friend had brought me here maybe 6 years ago, and we sat on the patio having drinks, and I instantly knew I liked the place. They had a closed indoor patio. Nobody yelled at me when I lit my joint out there, and I thought it was fabulous.
What do I like? Well, that's like what, you know, Hard Rock was Red Cross. That was an incredible show. Outlaw Country Style, Whitey Morgan's show, just about as good as anything that's come along. But that's not to discredit the hundreds of other bands that play in the same genre that have come and done great shows. Allison Lewis with her String of Ponies has hit big highs here. So has Duke and Inside Outlaws. Someone who works with me right now, Willa Ray Adamo, has got a band called Willa Ray and Minor Arcana. She had a record release party here. She had the place packed, and she put on I had no idea she had this kind of energy. She put on the show that was just out of sight. And then you start talking about the OCs or Ty Segall or or Alvin Youngblood Hart. Out at the bar one day, and one of the bartenders said, "Hey, there's some guy that says Al Hart wants to play your bar." And I said, "Al Hart, like I'm supposed to know Al?" He goes, "Alvin?" And I said, "Alvin Youngblood Hart?" And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "Give me the phone." And he was just passing through town, wanted a date. Alvin Youngblood Hart is one of the best blues guitar players in the world. In the movie called Black Snake Moan, when Samuel L. Jackson's supposed to be an old black blues player, he doesn't play at all. All the playing's done by Alvin Youngblood Hart, and Alvin taught him how to just look like he was playing. And the guy is just incredible, and he never comes through Detroit. We did everything I could. There's a short notice. We had 23 people here. Well, so years go by, and we're looking at these posters all over the wall and how many of these bands don't exist anymore. And my manager at the time, Karen, said, "This show right here, this was a great show. Alvin Youngblood Hart." They said, "Yeah, there's only 23 people there." She goes, "Yeah, but that was a great fucking show." And so I said, "Yeah, but he'll never be back here again, not after that turnout." Not 5 weeks later, "Hi, this is Alvin Youngblood Hart's manager. We're wondering if we can get a gig at your place." And I'm like, you know, and they came back and played. We still didn't get the huge crowd, but we got 46 people, and that looks a whole lot better than 23. And he had a wonderful time, and I think sometime again he'll wander back through.
My name is Craig Brown, and I've been here about 7 years, I think. I feel I've been saying that for a while too, so maybe 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, I don't know. I helped open the kitchen here. I did that for about 3 years, cooking here and figuring out the menu and stuff. And then I started cooking and bartending, and now I've just been bartending for about 4 years, I want to say. I've been coming here since I was like 18, playing ping pong and playing shows and watching shows and getting hammered once I turned 21.
And the thing is, Detroit's always been a fertile ground for musicians, just historically. The history of the auto factories and all the music that came up from the South, with the people who came from the South, the hillbilly music, the R&B music, the blues music, all that stuff came up, you know, to work at the auto plants. And it created this melting pot that we have in Detroit. There was a musician in New Orleans who has a band called Happy Talk. And when I met him down there, and I said, you ever get up to Detroit? He goes, "I'd love to go to Detroit." And I said, "Really?" This is years ago. I said, "Really? What makes you want to go to Detroit?" Detroit's always been a mystical city to me. And I'm like, time out. Detroit, mystical? He goes, "You guys made the coolest cars in the world. All of them. I mean, you just made just tons of super cool cars." He goes, "Nobody else can say they did that. No city in the state or country that can say that. You made the cool cars." He goes, and then there's music. I mean, you got people like John Lee Hooker, and you got all the R&B stuff, and you got the Motown stuff, and you got all these people that percolated out of Detroit. And I was explaining to him how it came up before the auto plants. He goes, yeah, that's it." He goes, "That's what I think is so cool about it." Detroit on the hipness scale from people out of town has gone up a lot in the last few years, which is really kind of funny. And that happens every day, and that's the thing that's happening in Detroit right now. And I think all over the place, there are people who are coming here to live, but there's also people coming here to check it out and are giving it the thought that maybe I could make something happen here. I have to admit, when I left Ann Arbor, and part of the reason I didn't feel bad about leaving Ann Arbor was Ann Arbor didn't need me. It had record stores, it had people, it had the university, it had everything going for it. I felt that if I came back to my hometown, that Detroit could use me. Maybe I could make something happen here for some people. And getting into real estate, I made a lot of people happy with a lot of houses they got here. And then I decided that music was where I wanted to go to. Not sure it's the absolute correct decision financially, but for my soul, it was definitely the right decision to make. The new Detroit that's going on right now is just going to be very interesting. I tell people all the time, this city for the next 10 years is going to be the most interesting place to be in America.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Holy balls. So what's this next song about? Mikey, what's this next song about? Let's talk about it. It's a little powwow with these fine people.